Back in 1989, Mr. 2020 went through a life-changing situation.
In October of 1989, I was a newly married prison guard. I had 4 months on the job. And long story short, we had one of the worst prison riots in U.S. history that October. I was taken hostage, beat up, literally beat to death, revived, and I was diagnosed promptly with post-traumatic stress disorder. And it was a lot of fun. I had flashbacks and night sweats and all that good stuff. And I realized at one point I just wanted to be left alone. And so my grandma was Native American. I knew a little bit of the philosophy and also understood that they lived in harmony with nature. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, living in harmony with nature, getting away from everybody that made me feel anxious and all that stuff. And long story short, I went to the Native Americans to learn the skills and the philosophy of how to live in harmony with nature. Meanwhile, while I was learning all of that, I was actually more and more adopting the spiritual side of the coin, which led to the healing. So I didn't have to leave society and live in the woods and stay away from people. So it was, you know, the beginning of quite an adventure of really discovering and remembering what we are and what we're capable of.
Tell me a little bit about your first teacher and what that experience was like.
Wow. Uh, I remember learning how to make fire by friction. And the reason I approach it like that, yeah, there are a lot of people that are hungering for change in life, and they're hungering for uh, a more natural connection or a way of living. And when I learned how to make fire by friction, it took the focus off of me and the teacher and the tribe and the lineage and all that stuff again we can get wrapped up in to really getting in tune with what we are is this sacred spark. And when you're rubbing two sticks together to make fire, yeah, it's fascinating because there's one part of the apparatus which is more feminine in construction, including the shape. It's got a little holdy bit. There's the masculine part, which literally is a stick, more phallic in the way that it's structured. And up at the top, there's what's called a handhold, and that pushes down on this male spindle that goes into this female fireboard. And it's the universal with the masculine and the feminine that, when brought together with attention and intent, allows you to actually sense that spark that's happening as you're, getting that spindle moving, and to get when you feel that spark, you can fan that spark into a flame. The reason I mention that is what you are and what I am and what everyone listening to this is, we're the spark behind the eyes. And when you start getting in touch with fire as a not only as a survival thing by rubbing two sticks together, again, there's a technique to it that allows you to survive in the woods if you have to, which is pretty cool and good fun. But the spiritual side of that, whenever you slow down and you're actually feeling the stored sunlight in the wood coming together with that masculine, feminine, and universal energy with intention, it changes your life because you can actually feel that unleashing happening. And I think that's a big part of what enabled me to just start noticing you are the spark behind the eyes. We are one with the spirit that lives and moves through all things.
Mm,
And
yeah,
that lesson, that first lesson, it changed my life. It literally took it from a thought to an experience. Yeah, it's like we can commit to something. Years ago, I committed to being peace on earth. Almost a woo-woo sounding concept to some. But I woke up one day and I thought, what do I want to embody? What do I want to be? How do I want this lifetime to impact the people who it bumps into? And peace is it. So there's this global commitment to peace. But more than that, there's the rubber meets the road side. So we could almost say the spiritual side is the spiritual intent, and that brings forth something. But there's the rubber meets the road. There's the survival side. Again, all of life, life here on Earth involves this physical meat suit, actually surviving for a bit and expressing your intention. And this whole thing of embodying peace in every single moment, there's this opportunity to embody peace or forget all about that. And that's where we get to really be real, because it is staying true to who we've chosen to be, or what we've chosen to be, or the qualities that we've chosen to embody. It's not a one-time shot. You just don't decide. It would be like Bill Gates saying, "I want to be a billionaire and all the computers," and never doing anything. But beyond even a worldly goal, and that works with this works with worldly goals as well. It has to. What you choose to embody, what you choose to be, it's an instant by instant opportunity. I have an opportunity right now to be peaceful, and and it's funny because I notice I am more peaceful now than I was right at the beginning of the recording, where I was a little amped up. So I'm able to embody peace a little bit more because this is my consciousness, and it's quite a lovely experience. So we have the overall intent, and then we have the endless invitation to embody that.
Sometimes there may be challenges or difficulties that arise in a person's life that may feel overwhelming or difficult to navigate. So what kind of
Yes.
suggestions would you give to someone who is in a spot in their life where they're feeling unsettled, uneasy, or just uncertain?
Yeah, sure. Unsettled, uneasy, uncertain. You've just described the flight of the song sparrow. And if you think about birds, birds are a fascinating thing. Every day before sunrise, here in Australia, as well as in North America, the bird song begins. Now, if you talk to an ornithologist, which basically means somebody with a lot of letters after their names, right? So if you talk to an ornithologist, they will tend to say birds are territorial. They sing their song to mark out their territory. Now, if you talk to a shaman or somebody who knows the old stories, they'll tell you the reason why the songbird sings is it sings its song of thanksgiving. It sings its song of thanksgiving before the sun rises. So before the blessing of that heat comes, because that bird's been sitting there with his feathers all ruffled up all night just to keep warm, before the blessing of that sunrise, the bird's already singing thanks. They actually say that the bird song brings the sun up. Now, the reason we bring up the ornithologist is because it's fascinating looking at how cultural mythology affects us. Our current mythology has us, we must have boundaries in our relationships. We must mark our territory in our relationships. And so people are miserable. It's crazy compared to what the Native Americans say. Well, the reason why the robins are spaced out just right, or the reason why the kookaburras here in Australia are spaced out just right, is so their song can be heard everywhere. So it's not a matter of here's my turf, I'm singing to protect it. It's this is the area that gets to be blessed by my gratitude song. And so even something like that. So to make this rubber meets road, again, we want to take it through all the levels. We're all going to hit speed bumps. We all hit speed bumps. And when you're driving down the road, and I've got my lovely little Volkswagen, I call him Zippy, he's awesome. So when Zippy and I are going down the road and we hit the rare pothole, we don't have very many potholes where I live, which is fascinatingly cool. Because where I grew up, there were tons of them. But when I hit the occasional pothole, it's no big deal because I've got the intent of where I'm going, and I'm thankful for the road. And so whenever we hit a little bump on the road, just stop and give thanks, because even though your attention might go to that pothole or that bump for just a second, remember the sun's coming up.
And you're still on that road.
Yeah, you're still on the road. Give thanks. You're still on the road. You never know what's around the corner. You never know what's around the corner, who's around the corner. You never know when you're going to meet somebody cool. You and I met. How cool is that?
Yay!
Uh,
It's very cool.
this is the thing. So just give thanks. Yeah, and it's not like thank you for the socks. It's that was Christmas time growing up. Thanks for the socks. I really like them.
Yeah.
My God, now I'm 48. Thank you for the socks. Wow, I
Yeah.
love them. You truly give thanks from your heart,
Yeah.
and that again, just that kicks off the day. That kicks off the new opportunity, and just watch what happens. It's good stuff.